And in every way, working families will pick up the bill for tax cuts for billionaires. We'll pay more every day for purchases because of the Trump trade tax.
One of the biggest concerns I hear time and time again from my constituents is frustration with the state's broken tax system. But instead of addressing it, Democrat lawmakers continually spend their time criticizing the new administration's federal trade policies while ignoring the tax burdens they've created right here in Illinois.
It's just some of the kind of back and forth in the contrast you're seeing at the Illinois Statehouse in debates about what the priorities are. Welcome back. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here to get the latest on what's happening at the Illinois Statehouse. As the associate editor for Illinois, I watch closely what happens when legislators are in session. The House was in session yesterday, and during points of personal privilege, they had the opportunity to share some of their thoughts, including, hey, I got constituents here from my district. I've got family here from across the way, or they'll even get up and make some political points like Democratic State Representative Anna Moeller did yesterday.
Since 1965, Medicaid has been a lifeline for millions of Illinoisans, ensuring that children, seniors, and people with disabilities receive essential care. But today, that lifeline is under attack. The Trump administration and Republicans in Congress are pushing massive funding cuts. And if they succeed, the consequences will be catastrophic.
She went on from there to read about what she sees as the problems of the Trump administration looking to shore up the costs for social welfare programs like Social Security or Medicaid and so on.
And we learned that Medicaid is crucial to our economy. Last year, hospitals and health systems generated roughly $118 billion for the state and created 440,000 full-time jobs. These providers, along with 240,000 other caregivers, depend on Medicaid payments. The Medicaid expansion Medicaid expansion alone is estimated to account for 55,000 jobs.
So the economic impact of any potential reductions in Medicaid spending that Democrats are warning about could impact, again, jobs and hospitals and such. Moeller continued yesterday on the House floor to raise concerns.
And while Trump and his allies spent the last week claiming that their plans would not cut Medicaid, a report from the Congressional Budget Office released on Friday showed the truth. The Trump plan and the resolution passed in the House by the Republican majority cuts $880 billion over the next 10 years and includes devastating cuts to Medicaid.
So, those cuts over the next 10 years, you got to look at that annually. And is that going to be cleaning up waste and fraud and abuse, or is it going to be cutting of benefits for people who deserve them? The rhetoric you've got to be able to hear throughout, but then to also understand what the reality may be and may not be. Are these talking points really just to be a cudgel, as Republicans say, or is it based in fact and reality? Obviously, we've been hearing Democrats, at least here in the Illinois Statehouse, raising this issue and trying to get the public activated to show up to town halls and flood Republican members of Congress and the legislature with phone calls to encourage them to oppose Trump and oppose Musk and so on. But Republicans in Illinois, they seem to be trying to highlight what they see as hypocrisy from the majority Democrats, critical of the federal government without looking at their own house. Here's Jennifer Salentriano, Republican State House member.
One of the biggest concerns I hear time and time again from my constituents is frustration with the state's broken tax system. But instead of addressing it, Democrat lawmakers continually spend their time criticizing the new administration's federal trade policies while ignoring the tax burdens they've created right here in Illinois. Illinois families already face the highest state and local tax burden in the nation. Instead of fixing it, the governor has proposed the largest budget in state history at $55.2 billion. This massive spending plan will not fix our tax system. It will only make things worse for hardworking families and businesses.
And sorry, that's State Representative Jennifer Sanalitro, who was joined by other Republicans at a news conference Tuesday, saying that Democrats have misguided priorities. And they highlighted all kinds of different bills. State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer there as well, highlighting what he says are just confusing policy priorities. Here's C.D. Davidsmeyer.
What are some of the other doozies that we're seeing that Democrats have put out? Let's see, there's House Bill 3518, which would legalize prostitution. There's a bill to make obesity a protected class rather than focusing on health care and improving people's health care and improving that for the entire health care system. We're just going to make obesity a protected class. The no voter ID, okay, no voter ID. They're talking about they won't allow voter ID, but they want to make sure that we can vote from prison. What about environmental justice communities, or eliminating grocery bags or plastic silverware bans and more Green New Deal scams? None of these bad bills will reduce the cost of living for Illinois families. I think I've made my point. The Democrat supermajority needs to stop tripping on mushrooms, magic mushrooms, and yes, there is a bill for that. And they need to get down to focusing on what helps Illinois families.
So that was just some points Republicans made on Tuesday during a news conference. And then you had other Republicans hold a news conference yesterday to discuss public safety concerns that they have. Here is State Representative Patrick Windhorst, the floor leader for Republicans, laying out how he feels Democrats have not done good when it comes to public safety policies.
What I have seen from legislators on the other side of the aisle has been a constant push to pass legislation that has seriously degraded our police officers' ability to do their jobs effectively. They have elevated the rights of criminals and eroded the rights of victims. House Republicans have fought the Safety Act, warning our fellow citizens that the law would harm our law enforcement officers and our court system, while increasing risks to public safety.
He went on to discuss the Safety Act in some detail. And we've talked a lot about the Safety Act and the Pretrial Fairness Act. We had a review of Illinois Supreme Court cases yesterday, touching on the end of cash bail statewide and how it's being implemented. And apparently, there's still a lot of questions and some holes in the law that have prosecutors and judges being challenged in the courts for the decisions they're making moving forward with implementing no cash bail. But Windhorst laid out some policies that they're hoping to get across the finish line as minority Republicans to clean up the no cash bail and to address some other public safety concerns that Republicans have.
As we know, with the Safety Act, there has been the elimination of cash bail in our state. House Republicans fought against the Safety Act and have advocated for its repeal, including a return to cash bail. But we have to acknowledge the realities here in the General Assembly and the current makeup of our body. So with that reality, we have put together some bills that we think will improve public safety and make sure that those who are committing crimes are held responsible for those crimes. First, HB 1482 would expand what we call the detention net for those arrested to all felonies. Currently, only certain felonies are eligible for detention under the Safety Act. This bill would say that a judge would have discretion to hold anyone committing a felony prior to trial in custody. That way, we are putting the decision in the judge's discretion. One of the arguments made by the other side of the aisle in support of eliminating cash bail was that it should be judges making the decision on whether someone's in or out of jail. However, our current law doesn't give judges complete discretion This bill would do that.
So he lays out another measure within that bill they say would help with public safety. There's also another measure to ultimately bring more penalties for adults who leave fentanyl laying around and poison their children with it. So clearly some public safety concerns. John Cabello, one of 3 members of law enforcement that are in the General Assembly, he spelled out the Safety Act is really harming police morale.
Can answer that one. The Safety Act makes law enforcement's job almost impossible. There's talk of a Safety Act 2.0. We haven't even seen the full ramifications of what the Safety Act has truly done. The Democrats and this multi-billionaire governor has decimated our law enforcement. Morale is lowest that I've ever seen. We can't get police officers to do the job anymore. And there's one party that is at fault for this. There is one party that has taken it to a new level, the new level of standing with the criminals instead of standing with law-abiding citizens and the police.
A lot of politics being played out here, and we'll bring you the latest each and every weekday morning. That's why you need to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell with us here at Illinois in Focus Daily each and every weekday morning. And get the newsletter in your inbox by signing up at thecentersquare.com. Also, get the podcast where you get podcasts and follow us on social media. And you can follow me on social media. Just search Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. Much more ahead each and every weekday morning.